WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and our website, www.wvtcdetroit.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users.
You're building the empire,
and we'll help you protect it.
because even the most powerful women
Still have trust issues. Hello.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to be here as well.
Look, every day is a great day.
Yes, it's a great day. It's a great day to be here with my sister today.
Yes, and you're
Talking
looking
about-
fabulous.
You too.
Thank you.
We matched it in our black
I
today.
know.
And we didn't even plan
We
it.
didn't plan it. That's just how it works out.
Look at that.
You
Look at
the
that.
vibe and yeah.
Yeah. So welcome back to Trust Issues, where money meets mindset,
Yes.
legal meets legacy.
And power meets protection.
Yes.
That's right.
I am one of your hosts, attorney Urenia Ricks Johnson, and I am so excited to have my sister here.
Yeah, I'm Erica Hall with EH Wealth Advisors, and we're here to help you. You've been building your empire. We want to help you protect it, and today we're going to help you protect it by making sure you right with the Lord.
You're right with the Lord. That's it. That's it. You're right standing. You know, we are at the end of the year. I was just sharing with one of my clients. I said, it just seems like it was Thanksgiving yesterday. Today is Christmas, and then tomorrow is going to be New Year's. Happy New Year, right?
I know. It's
That's
just
how
boom, boom,
it's
boom.
been going so fast, right?
Yeah.
And so, but before we end the year, we wanted to come here and just kind of talk about some, like you said, some things that we need to make sure that we are understanding that makes us in right standing,
Yeah.
and helping us to make sure our heart is right and our heart is pure.
That's right. We want to make sure that we do first things first.
And we end the year on a good note, and we end the year just being thankful. And, you know, even this holiday season, you know, we are always mindful and thankful for the reason, as people say, it's a cliche, but it's really true. The reason for the season, right?
Oh, that's what it's all about. And that's why this episode today is going to be dedicated to giving.
Yes, it's going to be dedicated to giving, something that's near and dear to our hearts, right?
Yeah, very much so. I am so glad that the Lord taught me how to give.
Yes.
Because I didn't know how.
And it's a principle. And then there's so many blessings tied to giving and having that, you know, and the Bible is clear about the things about a cheerful giver, right?
Cheerful giver and being planned and purposeful. And,
yes, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that today, right? We're gonna talk about like planning giving and in the end of the year, because there are also, even though there's a spiritual aspect, there's some legal aspects, some legal advantages to giving at this time.
Oh yeah, my sister's gonna help you out with the legal aspect.
Yes.
So we're gonna make sure
you're year, right?
Yeah,
so we need to start talking about that.
It is.
Right.
And so there are some laws that applies to how we give. Look, there's spiritual laws and there's natural laws. So we're gonna cover them both today.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about both of them.
It's a good show.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us for another episode of Trust Issues, as we are live here at our lovely station at WVTC.
Yes, and we're
Detroit.
so excited. And that's one good thing that came this year, the partnership. I'm so excited about that. WVTC is a great partnership organization, and that we are so blessed to be a part of. So, you know, that's another thing this year has brought us in and given us another aspect to being thankful for. Right?
Yeah, that's what happens when you do what God tells you and he shows you how to do. He already opens the doors and makes the way, prepares the relationship for you to expand and to get that message out to those who need to hear it. So listen, I had a birthday.
Yes, so we're going to say happy birthday to my sister because she has had a birthday this month in December, the December to remember birthday.
Yeah. So I don't know. You said the holidays roll by. I think after you hit a certain age, them birthdays roll by so quickly. And so I've always, ever since I was a kid, loved my birthday. Loved my birthday. And so I started saying, okay, now that God has worked on me and has given me a spirit, a heart to give, because I asked God a long time ago when I first became aware of this principle of tithing, when I first got saved and I'm reading the Bible, I'm going to church and they're talking about tithing. I'm like, Lord, what is the tithe? What is it all about? And I hear the preacher say, well, God don't need your money. Well, then why you want my tithe, right?
Then why you ask?
Right? And then God had to show me that it is something that He does for us. The tithe is for us.
It's for us.
It's to build our character. It's to help me become a better person. And now that I am this big age and having this wonderful birthday, I decided, because it was just all about me. I'm celebrating the whole month, right?
Right.
So guess what God told me to do?
What did He tell you to do?
Whatever gift I get, to give it to somebody. So last year I started asking folks when they donate, when they came to my big, had a big 50th party.
It was, and it was a night to remember. It was great.
It was. Oh my goodness!
In the building, I got that special invite, so I was excited to come.
Yes, we had it at my daughter's socialite at their my daughter and my son-in-law at their event space in Farmington. Socialite, and we had a ball. And I asked all my friends, would they donate to my scholarship fund? And I was launching the Wealth Generation Pathway Scholarship Fund. And folks donated, and for every $1 that they gave, I matched my company matched, and we gave away our first 3 scholarships.
And I'm so excited because we've seen the impact already of what, and then the fact that you were just being obedient to what God told you to do, it's phenomenal. Because a lot of times we were talking about giving and how it is not just really, it's a character issue, and it's also an opportunity for us to open up the window for us to receive blessings. And we understand that we have something in our hand, and we have to release it in order to get what God has
in order for it to be a blessing. Listen, I want to tell you, my heart. I was sitting there one day after things started rolling. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. It's really, really happening. And you find yourself, I know you find yourself in a place right now, just like I do, where you don't have enough room to receive. You just got to find people to give this. You take it. You take it. Yes. So we want to reiterate, how it is more blessed. Now I'm understanding why it's more blessed to give than to receive, because if you are a vessel, a conduit that God can move blessings not only to you but through you, that means that you are going to be, God's going to be able to use you. So I want to talk about, because this is December, it's a great time to give. You mentioned it's the end of it could be the end of your fiscal year when the books close. This is what you're filing on your taxes in 2026 for your 2025 tax returns. And so now let's talk about some strategic giving, some tools that we can use. Because I was able to employ one of these tools, and I'm glad to share it, because I think we're going to take it a long way.
Yeah, I think so. And then, understanding that it's a lot of corporations, it's a lot of individuals that are right now that are trying to find ways to give, because as we talked about from a legal perspective, it's the end of the fiscal year, and in order for you to get the maximum amount of benefits in 2026, you have to give. And with that principle, just like we talked about, in order to get those maximum amount of benefits that God has for us, sometimes we have to release what we've been holding on to.
Yeah. Very much so.
And you did that last year, and you did something with a DAF, which is a donor advised funds. And we're going to talk about that today. So tell us a little bit about what you found out about with a DAF, or a donor advised fund. Yeah. What is that?
Donor, they're so cool.
It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Donor advised funds are so This is such a great tool for giving, because if you are one of those folks who you already have a heart to give, and you've set up a fund you've identified a charity or some things that you want to raise money for, a donor advised fund is something that you could consider, where you could open up it's like a brokerage account where you can hold assets, you can hold securities, you can hold, and I'll talk about all the different kinds of assets that you can hold. It's not just stocks, it's not just investment securities, but you can hold those types of investments and they will grow over time. The great thing about the donor advised fund is that it's one that's held at a brokerage firm or at a custodian. Like mine is held at Schwab.
Charles Schwab. Okay.
Yeah, it's custodied at Charles Schwab. And the donor advised, it's called DAF Giving 360.
Okay.
And they do all the bookkeeping. They do all the accounting.
Because I know now people are thinking about that. Thinking about the bookkeeping. My book's together. It's in a couple weeks. Exactly. It's going to end. So making sure those books are together, right?
It's an account that when you deposit funds, when you donate funds, you get an immediate tax deduction.
Wow.
You get an immediate tax deduction. So you're not just giving and say, hey, I want to give, but you actually get to record that, and you get to deduct that from your tax returns. And the funds will be used and given to a charitable organization. You can decide how you want the funds to be distributed.
So you have the power with it. You can decide all of those things, and the maximum amount of tax benefits that you're going to get with that is based on your donation, right?
It's based on your donation, and also based on how you file your taxes. So if you were to give, if you're tithing, you're giving to your church, you're giving to any other charitable organization, that same way. So whatever that dollar amount that you set to give, because we know it's premeditated and it's planned.
It's planned.
That's how you're going to deduct it when you file.
Yeah, and that's important because, like we talked about, we're at the year end, and we can actually be intentional now as far as if there is an organization that we're passionate about it or a cause that we're passionate about. Tell us about your cause.
Well, I will. Thank you so much. So I call it the Pathway Scholarship because I've identified, I just thought about where from whence I came, where I grew up. I grew up in Fountain Court, right? Fountain Court community. It was where it still is. It's located over there near Tiger Stadium.
Okay.
Just a little bit on the other side of the freeway from Corktown. And when I think about how beautiful and wonderful my childhood was, I'm just saying that community of loving people. There were like hundreds of kids and families and all that kind of stuff. It just shaped me, made me who I am today. So I thought about my path. I thought about all the people who have contributed to who I am and my experience. And so I said, well, I want to go back and I want to give back. And so I've selected 5 areas, and one is my community. So if you live over in my community where I grew up, one is my high school. If you went to Cass Tech, where I was started my right, yeah, matriculating through Cass, and if you're a technician, if you have a child and you are one of my clients of EH Wealth Advisors, the children of my clients can apply for the scholarship, as well as extended family members, not immediate family members, but extended family members. And these are rules I'm reading from the Donor Advised Fund requirements, their guidelines. And the 5th area is if you are a member of Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church, where I worship, you can apply for the scholarship.
And that's great. Those are great criteria, and those are great parameters for individuals to strive towards, because it's actually tying you in with it.
Yeah.
But also having a path forward, because you're really reaching and giving back to these individuals.
Listen, when I got those scholarship applicants filling out those applications and they came in, I was like, oh my God, they're actually really applying for my scholarship. And we my and my mother, she helped me out. She
shout out to mom.
yes, shout out to mom, Adrian George. She put together a committee, our scholarship committee, to select to go through those applications and to select our winner, to select our scholars. And they selected these three young men. Milton Jennings. He's a freshman at Stanford University studying psychology, neuroscience.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to Landon Kendrick.
Yes.
He is a sophomore at Hampton University, and he said he's going to use the funds to pay for his major is aviation, and he's in flight school to pay for his fees, his license.
Okay.
And then our third recipient is Duran Scott. He's a freshman at Wiley College, and he's studying business management. And he said he wants to go back, give back, and help his community. Wow. So 3 purpose-driven, focused young men who are our scholars. So congratulations to you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you to the parents who raised these young men, because these guys send in their video. And you can watch their video. You can watch their recordings on our site. But they sent in their video to say thank you to the committee. And man, they're so well spoken. They're focused. I'm excited to be able to just contribute to just a small percentage of what they needed.
Yeah, and that's so important. And you got to see the fruits of it with these students that probably would not have had the advantage that you have given them without the scholarship. Yeah. And you can really see the impact that it's been making. So and that's what the giving is about. It's about impact. It's about making sure that, if it's something that's a cause that you're passionate about, or is it just that you're just passionate about giving? Some people are just about making sure that they give and they give with that cheerful heart that the Bible talks about too.
Well, that guy had to work on me because it wasn't there, but it's there now. It's there now because I see the benefit of being a giver. How when you're a giver, the Bible says that when you give, God will give it back to you, and it's going to be it's going to be some 30, 60, 100-fold, and that is truth. I'm experiencing that in my life today, and here's the magnification of it. I'm just looking at these 3 young men. But truthfully, what's happening is I've now connected with them, and I get to follow their path. I get to follow, and then I'm going to think of more ways to bless them. Right? To be an impact, like you.
Yes.
Like you know how you have put together this community development institute.
Yes.
And or corporate development institute, but it's for the community. And CDI, and see, what you've done is you've developed something that's going to have such an impact and magnified in the community that you're not gonna have room enough to receive. You're gonna have to keep adding and keep connecting and keep networking in order to serve the people who are saying, we just, you're just such a blessing to us.
Yes. And sometimes you have to realize, and I realized a long time ago that, even with being an attorney, that it wasn't about me.
Right.
What God had given me, it wasn't about me. And it was about me giving back what he's given to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm so grateful that he gave it to me.
It's not, yeah.
Because of the gratefulness. Good. One way of showing that is by giving.
Yeah.
One of the pillars of our faith, the scripture that's the pillar of our faith, for God so loved the world that he gave. The giving part of it was that God didn't have to give us anything.
Right.
Right. And so the ultimate gift that he gave us. So how dare we be stingy in our giving?
Right.
So if we believe that, if that's the pillar of our faith, if we believe that he gave his son, why would we not want to give our best?
Our response has to be, if we do believe, our response has to be that we're putting together, and it's not just the money, right? You start giving of your time, of your knowledge, giving that good information, sharing with the community and all that kind of stuff. And here's the magnified piece. Since So I think the rest of that teaching on God giving is, I think it's in Romans that God says, if the lump is holy, then the rest of it's going to be holy. And so if the first part,
first fruits,
first fruits. Okay, that's where I learned the how there's more work to be done. Because if God blesses, you give God the 10th, then He's going to magnify the remaining, right?
Yes.
He's going to magnify the remaining. And so now you got to be all creative. You got to start networking and figure out how you're going to carry out this vision that God has given you, because He not only can you do it, are you able, but He can trust you.
He can trust you. And and that's what really giving is about, trust, because what I've learned in my life is that giving is not really giving your all until it hurts.
Oh, say that again.
Giving is not really giving your all until it hurts. It has to be some type of sacrifice.
It has to be,
right?
Okay.
Some type of sacrifice of giving. And I learned that early on, because a lot of times I would just say, well, like, Lord, this is too much.
Yeah.
I'm giving too much. What am I gonna have?
Yeah.
What am I gonna have? And it hurts. If it may hurt your pride. It may hurt your pockets.
Yeah.
But in some way, it's because it's that sacrifice. It's that sacrifice of giving. It's that sacrifice of giving. But then at that point in time, you are really at that scripture where you are really trusting in the Lord with all your heart and leaning not to your own understanding. Because as much understanding as I have, I understand that I could never know as much as God knows about my life and what needs to happen, right?
Oh, yes.
And a lot of times we get to the point where we feel like we've given so much where it's just like, I don't even understand why I even did this. I've gotten to the point where I was just like, okay, Lord, I don't even, like, why did I do this?
Okay.
But I also understand that my understanding is not His understanding.
Right.
But if I'm trusting Him and giving, then I know that there's no way that I could be in lack.
No, not at all. That lack doesn't even enter into the atmosphere in the kingdom of God when you're operating in those principles. So now we've come together.
Yeah.
With this vision of this scholarship and this vision of CDI.
Yeah.
And so I know that we just come off of the big event.
Yes, Couture with the Cause was a great success. I'm thankful to all those out there that gave and that contributed to the cause that CDI has. We have 3 pillars: one of financial literacy, legal advocacy, and mentorship. Those are our 3 pillars that we have done, and we've accomplished quite a bit in 2025. We were able to do many seminars educating the community on those 3 pillars. And we have so much more work to do in those areas. But even from the perspective of those 3 areas require sacrifice. Those 3 areas require me to take away from normally what I would do at my firm and sacrificing it and doing some of those things through Corporate Development Institute in order to provide those services to individuals that would not normally receive those services.
Because y'all need it. Because we need it. Because they need it. I mean, and then I'm gonna tell you a quick little story. I had a young man. He actually was old enough to be on Social Security, but I'm calling him a young man. And he was having some issues with his benefits.
Okay.
And I advised him. I said, and he kept wanting me to do it. And I said, I am a securities registered. I'm a financial advisor. I am not an attorney. And what he needed an attorney. He needed an attorney. He said, well, I'm just going to do this here. And, let's see, I'm going to write a letter, and let's see what happens. And I'm trying to tell him, this is one of those entities that you don't write a letter to. Okay.
You got to go a little bit further. You got to
go a little bit further. And sometimes we're just not knowledgeable of why we need that advocate. But I would say it's just as serious of us needing Holy Spirit to advocate for us because
Father,
we don't know.
We need it. Yes. We don't know what we need. We don't even know what we need to pray for, right?
Right.
That's what the Bible says.
So that's what the law was. You know, I looked at the equivalency or just the comparison or the analogy of the lawyer and the person who's ignorant of the law, who may be innocent or maybe not guilty, not innocent, but not guilty.
Not guilty, right?
Maybe not guilty of what they're saying that you did, but you don't know how to advocate for yourself.
Right.
And so this young man, he needed an attorney. He needed an attorney, and went to the hearing, thought he was just going in to sit down and have a conversation. No, sir, that was a hearing.
They can and will be held against you in the court of law. Those statements will be held against you, but just walking in there, just thinking, and then they will be nice to you.
Yeah, very nice.
They'll be really nice to you.
Very nice.
Just to get you to ease up and talk.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times we don't know that. So we're thinking we just having a conversation, and everything that you said is being recorded.
And you
will see it again.
Yeah.
You will see it again.
And you'll say, well, I didn't know.
Yeah. And so those are things as far as the lack of knowledge, and that is the basis of Corporate Development Institute with that legal advocacy and the information, because, I say this all the time, that their perception becomes their reality. They can perceive something or something that they have heard, or these old tales that they've heard, or they've heard one side of things, even when somebody has been in court, and they come out with the whole perception of things, but they don't understand that the attorneys and the judge have a totally different perception.
Yeah, looking at something totally
They're
different.
Looking at it one way, and we're looking at it another way
to protect ourselves. Yeah,
yes.
we're so determined to tell our side of the story. And police officers love that. We're so determined
right.
they love that. So we're so determined to defend ourselves. Sometimes it is best for you to just hold your peace.
And that's my hardest. Sometimes that's my hardest battle, is telling my clients when to say things and when not to say things.
Yeah.
And how you could be right, but it may not be the right time to even state that you're right.
Yeah. So here we're talking about character.
We're talking about character, but all that still goes back to the part of being able to be teachable and being able to get those lessons from individuals that have been designed and have went to school and have that education in order to provide you with that information.
Yeah, and advocate for you on your behalf. So praise God for all that Corporate Development Institute is doing and will do. There's an exciting year that's coming up for all of us.
Yes, all of us in 2026.
In 2026. And so before we get there, we want to do our part, and we want to encourage you to give.
Yes.
This is a month where there are those who are going without. There are those where you can adopt a family. If you want to give to our scholarship fund, you can do so with the information.
Corporate Development Institute as well.
Yeah, we'll keep the information in the description, because this is a time where we want to consider that it's not about us, but it's about how God can use us to bless others. And we want to be a blessing.
And what I was thinking is that we did a whole series on the government shutdown, and sometimes we come out of things that we don't really understand the impact of it. Even like we talked about with COVID, the impact of COVID didn't really impact individuals right then, but it was a lot of effects afterwards. And I'm thinking about even this government shutdown, the residual of that, and we have to be mindful of that even during the holiday.
Listen, the government shutdown was on top of 360,000 government employees losing their jobs. So it wasn't just a shutdown for them. Then in addition to that, you have you just have an economic environment of uncertainty where inflation is hitting, and the job reports. I don't know if we can trust it. The numbers, the unemployment is high. And so what that means is that the government shutdown was just one of the symptoms of the economic environment or the landscape that we're in right now. And so this should tell us that we need to focus on these things all the time. Right? This needs to become a way of life. This needs to become a way of how we pay attention, being mindful of what we need, as well as how we can be a blessing, what we can preserve, how we need to restructure our finances or restructure our obligations so that we are not stretched too thin. We want, making sure that we, if we can reduce some expenses, this is a good time to do so. Just making sure we're paying attention to our books, our personal finances, making sure that we're in a position. I was looking at an episode. I was watching one of our episodes the other day where we were talking about bankruptcy.
Yes.
And
which is a restructure, a fresh start.
Yeah.
And that's something that sometimes you have to have that fresh start. Sometimes you have to restructure. You have to pivot
to get in a better position
because things are happening in your finances, and you need to have a reset.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you can't recover from that or move forward. It just means that you just have to do a reset.
Yeah, do a reset. I like that word. I like that word. But we don't just keep going the way things are. We have a right. I mean, we have an obligation to do something about it, and we also have the right to enact some of these laws to help us do so.
And yes, and then a lot of things are set up right now for end of the year to set you up for 2026. So if there are things that you can, if you do have a cause that you're passionate about and that you want to be able to give to, and like we've given a couple of examples, the benefit of that is that for this year end, you will receive that tax benefit in 2026. So you're really setting yourself up for when you start 2026, that you are at an advantage, that you may be in line more for a refund now that you have done that deduction or actually did that giving the end of the year.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So we've given you some good causes that you can give to.
Yes.
And that's going to help you benefit not only in the kingdom of God, but also in the IRS.
Yes. But here are some legal strategies though, making sure that you have, like the scholarship is connected with corporate development, but you already have your own EIN as well. But making sure that whoever you give to from a charity perspective, that they are in compliance. They are a recognized IRS compliant nonprofit.
Yeah.
And because that provides the best benefits.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we were talking about. The benefit of, I think you'd ask me the question, like, what's the benefit of a donor advised fund versus a nonprofit?
Yes.
And we talked about, the structuring. And so if you're looking for something simple, what you're doing when you open up a donor advised fund, you get a tax ID number.
Okay.
They give you a tax ID number so that your donors can get that tax deduction.
Yes, and that's important because that allows that donor to receive the maximum benefits that they can receive in 2025, which will benefit them in 2026.
Yeah, that's so cool. Now, remember I told you that you don't just hold stocks. I mean, you don't just hold investments inside of the donor advised fund.
So we can hold something else?
Yeah, you could. Now, people can give money. I can make my donation and deposit funds from my bank account. But guess what? I could also transfer stocks from my investment account into someone's donor advised fund. Wow. Why would I want to do that? Well, maybe I've decided that instead of paying capital gains taxes on these positions that I'm holding, I can donate them to the donor advised fund and instead of paying taxes, I now get a deduction.
Now, and so let's say that you have a stock investment where you've made quite a bit of money. You don't want to pay that
very
tax,
likely this
right?
year.
But you want to make sure you maximize the fact that, okay, you take a little bit out or, take some of that profit out, but to balance it out, you may want to give
Yep, you can donate
and
it
then
right
that
on
way
over.
you receive a deduction, and that way you can balance out so you're not paying as much taxes, or you may even get a refund in 2026 based on what tax bracket you're in.
Yeah. So if you had a nice come up for 2025,
right,
you can skim some of those capital gains off the top and transfer them over. Information on how to do so is right on that website that we share with you at ericahall360.com/pathways on how to send your securities into our donor advised fund.
Yeah, and that's important. And what is another form of currency that they can give?
Well, they're also, so donor advised funds can even hold collectibles.
Okay.
Hard assets, like real estate and things like that.
Okay.
And so there are a number of different types of assets that you can put inside of a donor advised fund. And so why would someone want to do this? When does it come in handy? Just when you're doing estate planning,
yes,
and you want to disposition some assets. Or you can open up your own donor advised fund and disposition your own assets in there to take them out of your estate and put them into a donor account. And just know that once funds go in, it's an irrevocable donation.
It's a revocable donation. So that's the reason why it provides the maximum amount of benefits, because we have, even when we talk about having trusts, if you have an irrevocable trust where you can't revoke that gift, then that provides the maximum amount of tax benefits. You get the maximum amount of tax benefits when you make things irrevocable.
Yeah.
And once you give, you've given it, right? You can't come back and get those items back. But also, we talked about, even from the perspective of estate planning and having those estates documents set up. Once you have a trust set up, you can strategically start to plan the perspective of how you want to give certain things through your trust to receive the maximum amount of tax benefits throughout the year. Let's say you want to even give your kids, grandkids, I have clients that give during this time through their trust, the Christmas gifts to their family members. Because at the end of the year, next year, they can provide that as a deduction on their taxes in 2026, because they did it through the trust and they got the maximum amount of tax benefits, because you're allowed a certain amount of gifts to your family that are tax-free.
Okay. Now we're going to have to say that again. Okay, now explain. Talk me through that.
There's a certain amount of gifts that you can give to your family throughout the year that are tax-free.
If I wanted to do it for Christmas, how would I go about setting something like that up?
If your trust is set up, you can have that specific language within your trust. And we actually work with different tax professionals to say, okay, this year, I want to give up to a certain amount to my kids or grandkids over throughout the course of the year.
Yeah.
Right? And so each transaction is tax deductible.
Okay.
So you're giving these gifts anyway.
Yes.
You know how grandparents are with their grandkids. And parents are with their children. But if they're giving them through the trust, it provides that taxable benefit, because at that point in time, it's not a taxable transaction.
Yeah.
So they're gifting through that. And then there is certain things that are called generational skipping. So you can skip a generation. Let's say you skip a generation to get the maximum amount of benefits. So you give to grandkids instead of the children. But you can do that through the trust, because you can give to a minor because you're giving it through the trust and it's managed by a trustee. So you can do that. So all of those benefits are set up, but the basis of what you need to have is have that plan set up through that estate plan. You can do just about anything you want to do as far as from a tax benefit perspective, but that plan has to be set up though.
Yeah. I think the key word here is planning.
It's planning.
Strategic planning. And we can have all these vehicles in order to satisfy wherever you are in your net worth. Right? Whatever your net worth may be. The things that we're talking about isn't just for the wealthy. One of the reasons they're wealthy is because they're using these strategic planning tools in order to move assets around so that they can minimize taxes.
And you can think about all these foundations that are set up and all these things that are set up. A lot of times it's based on the fact that individuals have to give away a certain amount throughout the year in order to receive the maximum amount of tax benefit. At this point in time, they're not necessarily chasing money. They're chasing tax benefits.
Yeah.
Because they're being taxed so much.
Yeah.
Right? So they would rather give it than for it to be taxed.
Exactly.
And the government take it.
Exactly. Because it's just like towards the end of the year when we have brokerage accounts or investment accounts, if you have some losses in this position and you have capital gains in this position, we can balance them out so that we can offset the capital gains so that there's no taxes in the investment account.
Right.
Because the goal is to minimize taxes.
And you are in a great position now before the end of the year to minimize those taxes by giving.
Yeah.
So it's not just the spiritual aspect of it, which is the major aspect of it, but from a financial and a legal aspect, as we're closing out the year, the best thing that you can do during this season is to figure out a way for you to give.
Yeah, yeah. So I think as we talk about that, we talked about the money meeting mindset. So we're working on changing our mindset, making sure that we understand that the reason that God gives us this challenge is so that we have a mindset of abundance and not one of scarcity. Someone who has that zero sum mindset, like if I give it to you, then I'm not gonna have any. That's a scarcity mindset. When we know that that everything that God has created is in abundance. There's an abundance of resources,
and it all belongs to Him.
Yeah,
right. We are supposed to be stewards over it, And if we think about it from that perspective of being good stewards on it, then that scarcity mindset would not be our testimony because of the fact that we understand that we're stewards over it, that He's given us charge over it, but it ultimately belongs to Him.
So if we feel like there's an abundance from whence from that which we pull from, then we have to plan the giveaway.
Yeah.
Because it's so much. I got to plan the giveaway. Giving should be premeditated. It should be purposeful. It should be planned. And it should be done without pride. It should be done in humility.
Yes.
And so if we are using our strategic tools, such as these donor advised funds or our charitable charitable accounts or charitable trusts, then we're actually maximizing, what's the word you use? Maximizing our tax.
Yeah. We're maximizing those benefits.
Yeah.
And like you talked about, we're doing a strategic plan.
Yeah.
And we're doing planned giving throughout the year. And those trusts that are set up, like I said, they are meant to set up to go on from generation to generation. It really is legacy planning. And if you think about a lot of the church organizations, like the Catholic Church, all of that is based on donor funds. A lot of the Methodist churches are based on donor funds.
Yes.
A lot of churches that we see, because they understand that the work of the ministry, the work of God, is so much bigger than us. Like you said, we live in abundance, so it's so much bigger than us. So I have to plan out the fact that I want this to continue on even beyond me.
Yeah.
And to keep going from generation to generation. So just how have individuals that plan to make sure that I leave my children's children something.
Yeah.
I need to plan to make sure that the ministry of God, that God has called, the vineyard that I feel passionate about, I need to make sure that it continues on beyond me from generation. I need to make sure that everybody that experiences what I've experienced, the good news that I've experienced, I want to make sure that continues on. And that's what when we talk about planned giving from a charitable perspective, we need to understand that it's so much bigger than us, and we need to be able to strategically plan how we're going to be a part of that.
Yeah. I like what you brought up. It reminds me of, sounds like covenant, being in covenant with the place, your house of worship. This is the place where you worship, and you're in covenant with your church. You're in covenant with God, but you're also in covenant with your place of worship, because this is where you tithe. Someone asked me before, like, what if a lady on my block had a fire and lost everything? Do I give my tithe to the church, or do I use my money to help her out? And I said, well, I'm going to say what God says in his word. He says that we're in a covenant relationship with him. And he tells us to bring all the tithes into the storehouse so that there's meat in his house. Now, because he's God, he knows she had a fire. Right? He knows what they need. Not only will he allow you to be able to bless them in and above your tithe, he's going to show you how, because of your obedience and because of your faithfulness, that you're the blessing, because you not only attended to what God told you to do, but
you're
now
obedient.
he can use you to bless this family. So your covenant is with God, and then covenant is with your house of worship, not some church in another state, right, that you may watch from time to time, unless you have joined that house of worship, and that is your pastor and that is your ministry. But that's where and so you're talking about covenant, and covenant is right along with legacy and things like that. And so another thing, before we go, I wanted to also talk about life insurance policies. Life insurance policies is another way that you can identify not only your beneficiaries, but you can also use that to fund your trust.
Name and have your church. And have it go from generation to generation, as well as, like you said, you can name your church as one of the beneficiaries, and the trustee can pay a certain amount to your church. And I've had where for the trust where they've given it, where they've served in different departments, that gives certain amount to the usher department, give a certain amount to the praise team, or whatever that ministry that they felt passionate about, just to make sure that ministry is able to continue on. And like you were talking about, the giving and what we're doing is really a heart issue. It's our heart toward God.
It is.
And like what he's called us to do, and that obedience. And the Bible talks about how that obedience, when you obey his word, and when you do those things, because like you said, he knows all those things, and he can use anybody to bless individuals, but he's chosen us to be a blessing, and we want to be obedient to him.
So circle back to that tithe. God don't need your money, but by giving your tithe shows that God can use you. So here's where our year-end giving ends up. Our checklist is to choose intentionally.
Right. Verify tax status. Confirm the organization is IRS compliant.
Pick the right tool, be it giving cash, donor advised funds, but make sure you get receipts.
Document everything, receipts, acknowledgments, transfer confirmations. Make sure everything is confirmed.
And set up your giving now. Don't wait till December 31st at midnight trying
to give on pressing the buttons, right? Right. Do it now. Do it now, and then start early.
All right. Give with intention. So before we close, we just want to say thank you to all of you who gave and donated to the Wealth Generation Pathway Scholarship
and the Corporate Development Institute. We thank you so much for your donations and all you've done in order to further our programming and to help us to make an impact in 2026.
So continue to give. Thank you so much. This is wrapping up our show today. We want to remind you to continue to like and share.
We have
so much that we got big plans for 2026. So be sure to follow us, and be sure to make sure you tell someone about Erica and Urenia on Trust Issues.
Bye.
Hello, my name is Orlando Bogans, and I'm the biggest fan of WVTC, winning victory through Christ, Detroit.
Okay, You ain't changing your mind now, have you?
We're about to be one big happy family.
I'm just hoping I can trust you to return my love.
I mean, as much as I know how to love.
Did you sleep with him?
No! This is toxic.
Don't become the thing that hurt you.
And what is that?
Bitterness.
I really needed you when Daddy died.
Girl, look, there you go with what you need. This not about you. Didn't you find God for that? I'm not here to meet your needs.
I understand that you love her. I get it. But like this, right here, this is toxic. Toxic? Man, who's you talking to like that?
And we're here at the Davidson High School for the first game of the season.
Look, I'm sorry, sir, but we were all running for our lives.
Hope you enjoy being used, man.
Man, what? No. You better find somebody else to play with, bro.
Come right. You both know you ain't about to hit nothing but a high note. You better sit down.
My Bible tells me that the wages of sin is death.
That's wages, honey, not wedges.
I know what it says, Miss Sunday School teacher.
I see that one is coming to the altar.
Now is the time.
Singing and praying with my mind.
Cut!
How you gonna cut singing and praying?
Hey y'all, what's up? This your girl Coco. I need y'all to check out WVTC Radio Detroit. Yes, WVTC. Say it with me. WVTC Radio Detroit.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.